Over time you may want to look at upgrading your basin taps. Let's take a look and see what's involved. You'll need the following: a new tap, a flexi connector, some plumber's tape, some plumber's putty, a plumber's wrench, a shifting spanner, a basin wrench and a rag. To make it easier to illustrate, we're using a demo sink to show you how to install new taps. The first thing you need to do is turn off your water supply. If you are lucky, you might just have a stopcock underneath the sink where you can turn it off there. Also a good idea is to put in a towel, that way it will protect your sink from your tools from chipping and damaging your sink. Disconnect the flexi connector supplying water to the tap and allow the excess water to run into a bucket. Using a basin wrench, unscrew the nut under the basin that holds the tap in place and remove the tap. You may need to lever it off from its seating with a screwdriver. Follow the manufacturer's instructions to how to assemble the tap and make sure it does actually fit into the hole of your basin. There we go, that's perfect. Now you must remember to put some plumber's putty around this top edge here, and that'll seal it off and it'll stop any water from going down into the back of the sink, into the cupboard or behind the pedestal. Fasten it to the basin via the nut underneath, using the basin wrench to tighten it well. Attach the flexi connector to the pipe inlet. Make sure that the nut is tight, as the connector uses a rubber washer to make a seal. No need for plumber's tape here. Turn on the water supply and test the tap for leaks, and then wipe away any excess plumber's putty. If you are replacing a hot tap, you can actually turn the water supply off at the geyser stopcock. Also, it's a good idea to turn the geyser off too. Then just drain out the water from the tap and away you go. Remember, if you need any help or need any advice, go down and see the guys at Builders. They can show you the full range of taps that they have available. A leaking toilet is not only a waste of water, but can lead to serious health and damp problems. Old toilet systems used to have an overflow pipe which actually led out of the building, so it was quite easy to detect if there was a leak. However, with the new modern systems, they actually overflow into the toilet, so it's not as easy to pick up a leak. Best thing to do is to have a look into your toilet, make sure you haven't flushed it recently, and if you can see water dribbling down the bottom, down the back, then you know you have got a leak. This is the easiest type of leak to fix. First of all, remove the cistern lid. Check your float. This is linked to the inlet valve and controls the level of the water in the cistern. If you have a leak, the water level could be too high. To find out, lift the float slightly and gently. If the water stops, then you know this is the cause of the leak. In which case, all you need to do is to get the float to close the inlet valve at a lower water level. If your toilet is fitted with a ball float that doesn't have a screw adjustment, then gently bend the arm downwards, which will allow the water cut-off valve to operate earlier. One of the reasons why there could be water dripping inside your toilet could be due to worn seals or a faulty mechanism. Now, if you go back to the old types where you had the long arm with a ball valve and you used to just adjust that or replace the seals, nowadays there's a whole range of different types available, and you're able to actually make the settings on there a bit more suited to control how much water you have in your system. The best thing to do is actually take your cistern lid off and have a look inside your system to see exactly what type of mechanisms you actually have inside there. Then go down and see the guys at Builders, and they can show you exactly what you need or offer you another one which you can retrofit yourself. If you want to save water in your system, you can actually control the amount of water that you flush by installing this kit here. What's nice about it is it's got two flush options. It has a half flush as well as a full flush option. Pretty straightforward. You're going to use half the amount of water or double the amount of water. What's nice about these modern conversion units is they're really simple to adjust. You've got a little screw on the side here. You just adjust that, and that adjusts the height of the float, which controls how much water can be stored inside that cistern. Likewise, there's an adjustment on the inside here which can also control the amount of water that gets released. It's always a good idea to try and save as much water as possible. If you want to do a conversion to your existing toilet, go down and see the guys at Builders. They'll show you exactly what you need and how to do it. If there is a puddle of water or dripping water at the back of your toilet, or you notice a brown stain, then you've probably got a leaking seal at the back and you have to replace the wax seal. This is an unpleasant job, but it is quick and easy to do. Here's exactly what you're going to need. You're going to need a bucket, a cup, wax seal, some cleaner, paper towels, clean cloths, and rubber gloves. For ease of view, we're using a demonstration toilet, but for you at home, your toilet's already plumbed in, so you're going to be working from the front over towards the back. The most important thing to do is give it a good clean first of all. The next step is you want to remove all of this wax around the seal here, all the old wax, the brown wax. You need to gouge it all out as much as you possibly can, especially any of the damp wax, because that won't seal again. If you can't get all the wax out, it doesn't matter, because that can be reused to seal the toilet again. It's very important that the toilet is dry before you apply the new wax, and make sure you have a towel down here just to catch any water in any spillage. Once you've gouged that all out and you've got it as clean as possible, we're now going to apply the rest of our new wax. Take it out of the packet. We're just going to give it a slice. And that's going to wrap around our whole pan, right at the back. And now you're going to mold that in, pushing it hard into the gaps, squeezing it in there, pack into all the little cavities on the side there. Just keep molding it in, squashing it in tight. You're going to work it right from the bottom all the way to the top. Since you're going to be doing this at home and it is a messy job, you might want to be wearing some rubber gloves. Now we've got it all molded in, we're just going to wipe off the excess with a rag. And then you can use some soap and water just to smooth it up and make sure you've got a neat finish. Just some soap and water on your hand and just mold it in. Once you smooth the wax off, all you need to do now is actually give it a test. Give it a couple of flushes, make sure there are no leaks. If there are, just pack that wax in at the bottom again and that should seal it. If the gap between your pan and your outlet pipe is too big, you can pack in some newspaper around there first and then pack in your wax. That'll stop the wax from going all the way through into the pipe. Remember, if you need any help, go down and see the guys at Builders. They'll be able to show you exactly what you need to fix your leaking toilet. At your local Builders outlet, you'll find all you need to install a new shower in your bathroom. Installing a new shower is not as difficult as you may think, especially if you follow these guidelines. Here's what you'll need: a shower tray, shower doors, shower taps, silicone sealer, a chisel for taking off old tiles, a shifting spanner, some sugar soap, sandpaper, paint and a roller, a shower head, a pipe wrench, some plumber's tape, new towels, grout and adhesive. As you can see from behind me, we've more or less gutted out our old shower. We've taken out the shower tray, we've taken out the shower doors, the framework, we've even taken the tiles off the walls. We've also exposed where the old pipes were, we've taken them out completely. As you can see, we've left our taps there at the moment, just to act as a stopcock until we turn our mains off. We're then going to build up our pipework, our new mixer, and then we're going to fit it into the area which has already been chased. For safety, try to reroute the cold water pipe from as close to the mains as possible. If you don't, other people using cold water in the house will affect the temperature of your shower. What we're going to do now is actually assemble our pipework for our shower and the arm and all the way down to the mixer, which is going to be according to the cavity that we've already cut out onto the wall. Where we're going to start off first is with a compression fitting. Pretty straightforward. This actually opens up, and inside there is a ring. Now this is our sealing ring. So how that works, slide that over the pipe, and over goes the ring, and then we're going to close it on top there like that. And then what it does is, as we tighten it, it's actually going to clamp onto the copper pipe and create that seal. Hold it in position. Obviously you clean the pipe beforehand. Hold that there. And we're going to pull that down. Now with the compression fitting, because we've got that sealing ring there that actually compresses onto the pipe, you don't have to use the thread tape. You only use the thread tape when you've got a male onto female thread and there's no sealing ring. So here's the shower arm. I've threaded up the end and we're just going to screw that in there like so. You're basically going to screw that up and that'll seal that pipe onto this fitting. But we're not going to do that right now because we're going to take it off and rather put it on at the end. That way it's not going to act like a lever when we're working with it, and it's going to stop it from getting damaged when you're doing your plastering. We can now move down to the mixer fittings and get all the fittings on there that we need to make sure that we hook up to our existing pipes that we have there now. We've assembled our shower fitting and now we're going to fit it to the wall and then we're going to test it under pressure. Now we need to make sure that the water's not coming out of the top end where our shower is, so we've put a block there. Now what you can do is just get a stop end from builders, or if you haven't got one available, you can actually just quickly make your own with a coupler and a piece of copper pipe which is bent over and soldered on the end so that it doesn't leak. Right, let's put it into place. Now you're probably wondering why I've put thread tape over the compression ring there. Well, the reason why is it's actually an old ring that we've got there. It's an old pipe and sometimes you don't get a good seal, but we just put some thread tape on there, a couple of laps around, and then you can tighten it up and then away you go, you should have a perfect seal. There we go, it's all tightened up. It's now time for the moment of truth. Time to put the pressure back on and make sure we don't have any leaks. If you see there aren't any leaks straight away, it doesn't mean you're in the clear. Rather let it settle for a couple of hours and make sure that there are no leaks, no gremlins come through later on. Okay, it looks good. Give it a good inspection. Even behind where you can't see, use a bit of dry paper. You can push it around the back and you can straight away see if there's any wet spots. But looks like we're good to go. Fantastic. All that's left to do now is we can actually start plastering in and carry on with our shower. When you finish your plastering, if you are going to be painting over the section, make sure you use a steel float to get a smooth surface over the entire area. Otherwise, if you're tiling as we are, if you have a rough surface, it doesn't matter. It actually works better for your tiles to adhere to. Before painting your walls or tiling, you've got to seal the walls with bonding liquid or an alternative sealer. Let the sealer dry and depending on the finish you want, either paint or retile and grout the shower. We're going to install the shower arm now. Make sure you've got enough thread tape around there to ensure that you don't get a leak right at the top there, because otherwise that'll dribble all the way down the back. We're going to screw the shower arm and the head into position with the coupling at the top here, and obviously you need to make sure that the head is facing down when you finish. Ensure that it is a tight fit. And then you're just going to screw in the collar. Once your shower is up and running, make sure there isn't a leak at the top. If there is, take the arm off, put some more PTFE tape and seal it back on again. The average height for a normal shower head is around about 2 to 2.1 meters above the shower tray. Now's the time to actually start fitting our shower tray. Now, depending on the type that you've chosen, you may actually want to make a base to raise it up a little bit. You can actually make a brick base or concrete, or even a wooden base will be fine. You also got to consider the type of trap that you are going to use. Here's a standard P-trap that you're going to use in a shower. Our base actually comes with a built-in trap, so it's critical that we make sure we get a good seal on the outlet pipe here to make sure we don't get any leaks. Our base also has little legs on it which we can actually adjust the height to make sure that it is perfectly level. It's extremely important that you do put down a mortar mix first, and then our tray is going to sit on top of that and we're going to get it into position. When you are getting your tray into position, make sure that you do use a spirit level to ensure that it is level, and you can actually use these legs to adjust the height.